Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's having themselves a fabulous Friday. This is the first Friday in August. Here it is. This is Financial Friday, and I have the lovely Shateka Hauser, the financial planner, on with me again. And what we're going to do is we're going to tell you. What we need, the information that we need in order to go to the next level. A lot of times we don't think we need things, but it's a lot of things that's out there that guess what? If you just take the time, listen with our two ears, you'd be surprised the amazing thing it can do for you in your life and your family. So here go the lovely Shatika.
Oh, Brian, thank you so much. And thanks again for allowing me to come back on with you. Just to kind of share the goal here today, ladies and gentlemen, is just really to empower you with more information on different topics. One of the things we've been talking about is, retirement. And I just wanted to really drive that point home because there's a lot of people that I'm finding out here that they want to retire, but they don't have a strategy. They don't have a dream. They don't have a vision. And so I would ask you, what does your retirement account look like? So I would ask you that question. What is it that you want to see in retirement? What type of lifestyle do you want to see? Do you see yourself living above where you are or below where you are currently? Right? The average number that people use for retirement is 80% of whatever your salary is, time 20 years is what you're going to need in order to be able to retire. So I'll say that one more time for easy math purposes. If you make $100,000, you need $80,000 times 20 years when you retire, 1.6 million. The average person don't have that, so they don't retire. So that's just for the easy math sake. And when I would say 20 years, the average person is going to live between 65 to 85 on average. And these are just average typical numbers, just to give you a pinpoint of where you need to be. So again, 80% of whatever your salary is, unless you downgrade, then you wouldn't necessarily need as much. But the goal is just to understand your numbers. So what is your, not only your financial freedom number, but what is your retirement number, right? And so financial freedom number would be more like, what is my debt right now that I have? And, how am I going to get from out of debt, basically, right? In order to be financially free so that I don't have to work. And so there's tools out
You
here,
froze.
I froze.
Yeah.
Am I still frozen?
No, you back.
Okay. So there's tools that can help you do them simultaneously. You can get out of debt as well as retire, or I should say, prepare for retirement at the same time. So there's not you having to choose between the two. You can do it at the same time. So what if I told you you could use your dollar twice? There's products out there that allow you to be able to make money for you while you're sleeping, while also giving you access towards retirement income at the same time. So let me ask you something. Qualifying accounts. Do you know what that is versus a
No.
non-qualifying account?
Hmm.
A qualifying account is going to be anything that is government regulated, like a TSP, 403B, 401k, 457, uh, those types of account, IRAs, Roth IRAs, all of those are qualifying accounts, government regulated accounts. I've said this before and I'll say this again, that the wealthy 1% do not use qualifying accounts. They use non-traditional, non-qualifying accounts in order to be able to retire because they realize that with the qualifying accounts, the fees are super high, number one, and the taxes are super high, number two. I'm often amazing clients when I'm showing them that they're going to run out of money if they use a qualifying account because of those two reasons that I just told you in their 70s versus having income for the rest of their life
Hmm.
with no risk with the money, the funds that they have in their account. If the market volatility goes, with the market volatility, you could lose money in any type of qualifying account. With a tax-free retirement account is what I'm alluding to. You don't lose money in those accounts. Okay. What happens is you participate in the market when the market goes up. So whenever the market has gains, you capitalize on those gains by participating in any gain that's above 0%, right? But when the market loses, you don't participate in those. So it's called an index. Anytime there's type of index account, you're not going to lose money when it goes down, but you will gain money when it goes up. So that is the beautiful thing that most wealthy 1% people know about. I'm talking about billionaires and multimillionaires. They've tapped into this account because they realize that they don't want to pay Uncle Sam taxes. So according to IRS code 7702, they've They've figured out the loophole around not having to pay taxes on certain, types of retirement accounts. And so basically, you can have these accounts structured to be able to give you that income, like I mentioned before. Everybody wants to have all this money when they start late in retirement, but this type of account can also help you because it can compound your money for you. Now, people will ask questions like, what about this and what about that? You can put your money in anything you want to put your money into.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of different types of products out here that's going to help you to make money. But the unfortunate thing about those is that you're going to be paying a lot of fees in, in most cases, and you're going to be paying a lot of taxes. And so, what I'm here to tell you and educate you on today is that you don't have to pay all those taxes, and you don't have to pay all those fees when you get a tax free retirement account. That's primarily what I'm saying. But in addition to that, let me ask you a question. Does your qualifying account give you a death benefit? Does your qualifying account allow you to leave a legacy for your children's children? Does your qualifying account give you some type of medical benefit so that in retirement age, where most people's bodies fall apart, right? Unfortunately, they don't plan for it, but it happens. Dementia, heart attack, stroke, cancer, in other words, chronic, critical, terminal illness or chronic injury, or not able to use two of your active daily functions, bathing, eating, moving around, having to have long-term care. Does your qualifying account give you access to some funds that's going to help you in retirement? Or are you going to be one of the statistics that's going to go into bankruptcy because you didn't plan for that portion of retirement? Because yes, Medicare is around, but we don't know how long it's going to be around. We don't know how much it's going to be giving, things of that nature, right? There's a lot of gaps even with that. And you have to be 65. So what are you going to do between now and 65 years old if something happens to you medically? So that's where a tax-free retirement account comes in at, right? Also, if you have a lawsuit, they can take everything that you have in your qualifying account, but they cannot take anything from you in your tax-free retirement account. These are things that you have to think about, you know? So you love this money talk? Oh, thank you. So yeah, so those are some of the facts that I wanted to kind of speak to because it's so important that our people know this, our communities know this, and if you know somebody that needs this information, share it with them because people are looking at 401ks. The only time you want to put your money in 401k is if you're being matched, right? Like, who wants to give away free money, right? But even in that, I've seen the numbers where it'll still outpace with the fees. So immediately after you finish with that whole matching situation, you want to quickly roll that over into what's called an
Mm.
indexed annuity. All right. You probably heard of annuities, but again, when I say index, that means that you get to participate in the market when it goes up. You don't participate in the market when it goes down. In other words, you don't lose any money
Yep.
in an annuity. And you get lifetime income in an annuity where you're not going to get that with a traditional account, a 401k. So you can roll that over into that type of account. And if you have your money already going into those types of qualifying accounts and you want to reposition it into a tax-free retirement account because you know that that money's never going to run out, it's never, like, the time is now. I mean, if you're serious about it, the time is now, and that's the best thing I can say about it. And I'm going to pause here to see if there's any questions. And Brian, if you have any comments on anything that I've said.
You know what? Why we as people are so unprepared in that department. It's like as I'm listening to you now, it's like a wealth of knowledge. And it's like we are so behind. It's like we don't live for the future. We live for now. And then when the future tap us on the shoulder or life event happen, like I keep trying to tell people when I'm around, when I'm coaching, counseling, training, life gonna happen to each and every one of us. And the worst thing when life is happening, if you're not prepared for it, if you don't have nowhere that you can tap into a saving, into some stocks, into some type of thing that you can liquidate to help you with that financial issue, guess what can happen? Even if you say you got medical issue, and that can lead up to hundreds and hundreds of thousands. So that can devastate anything that you might have in that nest egg. And my question to you is, why are we so unprepared? Why are we not ready for that four-letter word we call life?
So good. So good. And you reminded me about the other piece to this, emergency funds. So the wealthy 1%, they don't go to, take out a loan. They don't take out loans like that, right? In terms of like going to a creditor or using their credit card and having these high interest payday loans, things of that nature that a lot of us have been using. with like 60% to 100%, interest. They use their tax-free retirement account because they have full control over that account versus, the qualifying account where they don't have any control and they can't touch that money until they're 59 and a half. They can access their money in their tax-free retirement account immediately. I see David's comment. He says he needs his annuity money right now. I get it. So the tax-free retirement account allow you to do that as well. So I get it. You need cash. So yeah.
But it's still, like I told you, like even right now, from us building and getting in contact with one another for the last few years, and it's just like so many different things that you was able to enlighten me to. And a lot of times what it is, people think we know it all. And you know what? You'd be surprised at so many different things that we don't know, because as time changed, the game changed. And when the game changed, we got to start thinking and be prepared for the future. Because even right now, like you say, is generation wealth. It's best to have than to have not. And we work all our life to end up with nothing. So meaning, was we planning? Did we set our own self up to fail?
So, so good. I often say that I might have been born into poverty, but it's up to me not to die there. So we have to take control. We have to educate ourselves and we have to shift our minds. And I'll say this again, that a lot of times people are poor because they pass over opportunities repeatedly, which is something that someone said somewhere. That's not my acronym, but POUR stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. And a lot of people have skeptic bank accounts because they are skeptics. They don't like to look into something because it's new. Oftentimes clients hear about this tax-free retirement account because they never heard of it before, because they don't know anything about it. And let me give you this book to go and research or to listen to. If you a person that like to listen to audibles, I do a lot of audibles. Listen to this book called The Power of Zero. The Power of Zero is going to break it all down for you around these taxes and how the rich get richer because they know how to get around these taxes, and they're using these tax-free retirement accounts that I'm talking about, and how Social Security is going away. Like we already know that, but it explains that the more and more people are becoming entrepreneurs. Number one, so there's less people really putting money into the system for Social Security, paying into it, because more and more people are small business owners, and they're catching on that the tax code was built for the small business owner and not for the W-2 employee. It just wasn't built for the W-2 employee. They're going to pay a lot more taxes than the person that owns a business. That's why more and more people are leaving W-2s. Nothing wrong with a W-2. I did it for many, many years. You do what you have to do. And it could be your sponsor for your business for many years until you're ready to get off. And I will always tell somebody, make sure your money is replaced in your business before you move off if you can. But at the end of the day, you got to have a mindset shift when it comes to you know finances, and not passing over these opportunities to do something different. This new rule for retirement, this just because you never heard of it doesn't mean it never did exist
Hmm.
before. It doesn't mean it hasn't been around for 20 years and you just catching on to it. I wish someone would have told me about this when I was in my 20s. They just told me, Shateka, you're going to need between $2 and $4 million to retire, is what my advisor told me when I was 23. And he didn't tell me how to get there. And I'm here telling you, this is how you get there. You get yourself into the right account, because the average person is going to lose anywhere from shucks hundreds of thousands of dollars to 4, 6, 8 million dollars because they put it into a qualifying account versus putting it into a tax-free retirement account. And the numbers don't lie. They just don't lie.
And even as I'm listening to you, and I reflect back upon life, like even right now with my, past being young and not really understanding when you make an unlimited cash flow the wrong way, not knowing what to do with it. And to me, people do not understand that even when you're doing that, you're risking your life for nothing. And, something that I love is the saying that you say, retire before you expire. And,
Yes.
even being out there and you doing these things, you can retire just like that. And then right now, where it's like, where's the fun at? Where's the enjoyment at? So to me, it's like once you done hit rock bottom, and once you don't realize, like, look, man, I want to live. I love life. I love me. I want to live. And how do I live comfortably? And when I'm listening to the words that come out your mouth and you trying to give me a plan, step by step, to make sure that I don't be, I'm saying, that dark place again, that I don't be homeless, that I don't be, I'm saying, like hunger. I don't be broke. So when you take the time and listen and apply, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of times right now, what the sense of having knowledge if you don't have nobody, you know what I'm saying, the ability to teach that knowledge, our ability to receive that knowledge. So that's why right now, when me and you, like, you know what I'm saying, bond and we start talking, we go back and forth and we can go at it. I love it because
Right.
you feeding me, girl. You feeding me the information that I need that's going to help me to make sure I'm not broke, make sure I'm not homeless, make sure I'm not hungry.
Well, the passion really is about, moving into the next, right? In terms of our finances, because it is really just education and then it's just a mindset shift. A lot of people are broken and that is why they're broke.
Mm.
So how we do one thing is how we do everything.
Can you say that
So
again?
a lot of people are broke because they are broken and they're doing that retail therapy that we talked about last time. And they're spending all this money trying to look like they're rich when they're poor on the inside. They're poor in their mindset. They're poor in their discipline. They're poor, and I get it because discipline is something that's necessary, but most people don't have it. They don't want it. They don't care nothing about it. You know what I mean? So that's their choice. But at the end of the day, that budget word, that's an ugly word. People don't like budget. It doesn't sound attractive, right? Like you telling me to budget, put together a plan about my finances so that I can make sure that I keep my credit good and to make sure that my future is well and my family's future is secure. You know, because you can now turn credit into a whole business. You can turn credit into a whole lot of different things. If you have good credit, you can leverage your credit for other people and make money off of just having good credit alone. That's a whole $1 billion business by itself. But
You, you
listen,
want to hear something?
go ahead.
Like some people are enslaved by money, or some people are driven by money, and people don't understand. Like, you know what? It's good to have. And I got a best friend, and like you talking about the credit, whereas he got a $40 million business line of credit. And when you sit back and you look at that or whatever, nobody gave him that. You know what I'm saying? See, that's what people don't understand. A lot of times we want to get somewhere, but how do you want to get there? Sometimes what you got to do is you have to get blood, sweat, and tear. You have to have that drive. I watch you and I listen to you and all the stuff that you into, you constantly keep going. I don't understand how you still like, get up early, ready to go, but it's a burst of energy and look where you at.
Right.
Nobody, what did anybody give you, young lady?
I can't hear you. Let me
What did anybody gave you?
Not a thing. They didn't give. Let me turn my volume up. They didn't give me a thing. Excuse me. Not a brown penny. I've been working since I was 8 years old. So I always tell people, listen here. You can't tell me about work. You can't tell me about the hustle. The hustle was real when I was 8 years old selling chili beer to my
So
neighbors. So anyway, it's something that we need to do, just to take a look at, what is the plan? Without a vision, people perish. People need to have a vision for their futures, and then don't get upset with somebody because they're doing what they're supposed to do, because we all have the same opportunities out here. Nobody's taking anything from us. Nobody's going to give us anything either. We have to work for it. And I don't want to get on that type of soapbox, but I did want to say that we all have the capacity to win in our finances
mhm.
when we make the right decisions and we have a strategy for how we're going to, number one, get out of debt if we are in debt. Okay. As well as invest properly, give your money an employment opportunity. Okay, you are the CEO. CEO stands for creating employment opportunities. You need to create an employment opportunity for your money if you haven't already. One of the ways that I suggest for people to do that safely and securely is a tax-free retirement account, right? And I keep pointing back to that because I want to see more people retire before they expire. Because at the end of the day, the average person is going to work all their life unless they figure out a way for their money to make money for them in their sleep, which is according to a billionaire Warren Buffett, right? So, how are you making money in your sleep? That's the first question I would ask you. Or else you will never retire. It doesn't have to be a tax-free retirement account. It could be any type of account, but just understand that that's the one that's not going to have to pay taxes. That's the one that's going to be 30 to 50% less in fees than any qualifying account. Okay. And the numbers don't lie. So that's what I'm challenging people to really take a look at. You know what I mean?
And that's what we need to do because once again, like to me, Like I'm not gonna even like I you like to think that you're ready. You got a few things going on, but then again, right now, is after talking to you and like doing my history and homework or whatever, I'm like, okay, cool. I need this. I need this as much as anybody that's out there that's listening. And the difference is right now for you to be giving me this information or whatever and trying to help me to be where I need to be at in life. That's a blessing. I truly, truly appreciate that because you can have been taking your time doing something else with your time.
Absolutely. And it's someone that's looking for cash right now. I saw that comment earlier, and I spoke to that. If you have some type of 401k account, you can actually become the custodian of that account as well. There's a way that you can make that a solo 401k, and have you be the custodian if you're someone that's looking to get into real estate investing, and then you can take that money and real estate invest with that money. Also, if you have an IRA, and so your friend have an IRA, you can turn that into a self-directed IRA where you both can lend money to one another to do real estate investment deals. So one of the ways I was able to leave corporate was I did my 401k and used that to leverage for buying properties. So there's just so many options out here, but just understand that the only tax-free retirement account is the only tax-free retirement account. The one that I was telling you to go and listen to that book, The Power of Zero. It'll tell you all about that. And honestly, people know about debt, right? You know that you have a car, a house, mortgage. You know about your credit cards, but what about that biggest debt that most people have that they don't really take a look at? The one that they owe IRS, right? So I would challenge you to make sure that you have a really good CPA as well, but to figure out how you're gonna, get out of that excuse me, that tax debt that you're in, ideally, which could be for a lot of people, the solution is small business. That's not everybody's solution. Everybody don't want to be a business owner. Everybody don't want to be an entrepreneur. But how are you going to lessen your tax burden so that you can be able to have more money? That's money that you can be investing with instead of paying Uncle Sam, basically. So
Did I heard you just right that when you got in real, okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. How did you get into real estate?
I basically, while I was in corporate, I took and started, investing and flipping properties, and I purchased some rental properties while I was in corporate. That's how I got into it. One of them was my first home, my primary residence back in Atlanta when I lived there. That turned into a rental property because remember back in 2008 there was a big market shift with the housing market, which is what we're going to experience here shortly again, with all this blowing up of everything so high. It's going to be very, very low in a minute because people don't have jobs. Foreclosure rates are going to go up, and everything's going to plummet down. So I wouldn't buy anything until it comes back down, but you might have to wait a little while for that. But that's what's happening. But anyway, back in 2008, that's what happened. And I was literally upside down in my property, and I couldn't. I didn't want to sell it because I would have lost like $50,000 if I sold it, right? So I was like, I'm just going to hold on to it and turn it into a rental property. And that's pretty much what happened. It was by default. And from that point on, I just kept adding properties. Like, I can do this. Like, let a tenant pay for my property, and then that's part of my retirement, fund, basically, to have, tenants paying off all my mortgages. The goal is to pay off your mortgages as fast as possible, so that you have free ownership, right? And then all that money is just yours. That's your cash flow, play money, whatever, from your properties. So that's sleep money. You know what I mean? So
Go
yeah.
ahead, Warren. Go ahead, Warren. Go ahead, Shateka Buffer.
Stop it. So yeah, I don't. I mean, I really didn't want to be. My saying. I don't want to be long. I just want to be strong. But I wanted to see if there's any questions out here. I have a lot going on this morning, but I definitely want to answer any questions if anybody have any questions at this time. And I know that Brian, you had to get going as well. So
I see a few things up there, Miami Beach in here. You got and those are things like I told you people, like go ahead, ask question. Here it is right now, where it's free. Go ahead and ask the question. Even right now, if you want to get in contact with Shateka, you can see everything is down on the ticker, www.shateka.com, 678-736-6496. Because once again, like, right now is guess what? Here it is why you got that opportunity, and how many times you're gonna have that opportunity. To me, when you get the opportunity, knock, ask. You know what? Ask that question. If you want to do it offline, do it offline. But
that's
the
fine.
opportunity's there.
Yeah, winningandwealth.org. Yeah, I know you didn't put that on here today, maybe next week. Um, winningandwealth.org. If you go there, it'll tell you a little bit about the tax free retirement account. And also you can submit your information. If that's the quickest way for me to get in contact for you with you. And just when you submit that information, know that we will contact you on the winningandwealth.org. So if you wanted to do it that way as well.
Can
What
you
is your
add that in the
on life
comment?
insurance becoming a wealth transfer? Absolutely. Well, life insurance the is wealth on sale. Life insurance is wealth on sale. I can get on a whole soapbox when it comes to life insurance. Okay, I am a broker in many states. Um, Life insurance basically is going to help you to be able to leave, of course, a death benefit for your next generation. Right? How many people on here? You can raise your hand silently. Someone left you a policy, and you are a millionaire because you're on here. You're a millionaire because somebody left you a policy, or maybe you came into $500,000. Life insurance does that for you. Now, listen, the term insurance, I'm not knocking term because it's for who it's for. Some people can't afford a permanent policy. A term insurance is just that. It's temporary. It runs out. Only 2% of people are going to get a payout from a term policy. Why? Because all of you that have a term policy will outlive your policy. Term usually comes with a group benefit, like if you work on a job, it's rented insurance. That is not the insurance you want to have. Because when you leave that job, you no longer have insurance. You want something that's permanent, that's going to make money for you while you're sleeping, or you're going to get a return on your investment. If you're paying for term, you are putting money into, unless you die, you will never use it. Is different with a life insurance policy, to your point, a permanent policy where you can tap in, you can use it for medical benefits, you can use it for emergency funds. This is what the wealthy do. This is the wealth transfer. They don't leave debt, they leave cash value build up inside their policies and things like that. They put on their children at the age of 14 days old when they're infant. That's the youngest you could put it on a child at 14 days old. They get little $50 policies. And by the time the child is 18 years old, they got shmoney, okay? Shmoney in order to play with. Rather, they want to do their own business. They want to go to college. If they want to get married, they got money, okay? And, I'm saying you can start with as little $50, $25 policy on a child for them. You know what I mean? And people are just not doing that. But you talk about life insurance, you can start with the child that you have, the grandchildren, or making sure that they are, if you want them to be set up for success, get them their own policy and let them continue their policy when they get older. And each generation is taught to do that. There's always going to be this generational wealth through the life insurance. It is wealth on sale. I don't know any place else you can put about 100 grand in, and come out a millionaire if something happens. There's no where else you're going to do that at. There's nothing else out there that's going to be able to allow it. It's wealth on sale. Please be clear about it. People say they can't afford it, but they can afford to do all these, Air Force Ones and all these other things that they're doing with their money. Um, if you just did a little small $100 a month, I don't care who you are, you'll be grateful for that $100 a month that you've been putting away. It's start where you are. You don't have to put in 300, 500, 700, 1,000. Some people are putting all this type of money in, and that's great. But you can start right where you are, a $50 policy, $100 policy, whatever you can afford. But you need to have something so that your money can make money for you while you're sleeping, and the list goes on. I can go on and on about that. So I love that question. That's a loaded question. Now, if you have to have a term policy, these two things you want to do if you have to have a term policy, make sure that your term policy is going to give you a return on premium. So after 15, 20, 25 years, you get your money back. Now,
Mm.
some policies you can get 65% up to a certain age. Some of them is up to 100%, depending on which carrier you're with. I'm a broker, so I can talk to all carriers. So basically, what you want to do is make sure that you have a return on premium so you can get your money back. Or two, you can upgrade when you can afford the right type of insurance that's going to give you your return on your investment. Okay, you want a permanent policy. You don't want a term policy if you can afford it because you're throwing away money. The carriers, the insurance carriers, they are the biggest money makers in the world. They make more than banks. They make money, and they do it because of people that are not informed. They're not educated. The financial literacy is not there when it comes to insurance. So they're going to think that, okay, if I get term, but you're going to pay 40 years for term. And what do you have to show for it? Because it's going to terminate in 10, 15, 20, 30 years. What do you have to show for all the money that you was putting in, even though it's a small amount? What did you have to show for it? So Why don't you put your money inside your money inside something that's going to be able to? Because here's the deal: you hear the thing, buy term, invest the rest, but who knows how to invest better than the insurance carrier? They are the best when it comes to investing. And that is why billionaires put their money in insurance. Banks put their money in insurance. Big time corporations. How do you feel like, how do you know that the insurance, the corporations that are still around, the ones that do very well, have their money in insurance? You don't just look for profit from their clients. They got a big policy somewhere. They got what's called and I'm talking to you small business owners out there, you entrepreneurs out there. They got key man insurance. They got executive bonuses. And that's how Amazon don't pay for their, you know what I mean? They don't pay taxes because they get around it with the tax-free retirement account because they've got all these key man insurances, executive bonuses in there, and they write it off as a tax break. And if something happens, all of that money is a generational wealth that they leave for their children that has a stake inside their company because everybody's employed in the company, is part of their family. So it stays within the house. That's generational wealth in a business because that insurance policy that they have is the right type of insurance to be able to have in a trust. So if something happens, that key man insurance, that executive bonus, all that type of stuff is going to carry that business on. That's how you have businesses in business for over 100 and something years because they got the right type of insurance. So I went from personal insurance to business insurance. The other thing about the policies that, or I should say the insurance that's not really good is that final expense. I want to park there again because again, final expense is the one that these older people possibly are getting because they're not informed. They say, well, I just want somebody to bury me. Let me just get this final expense. The average final expense couple, because they both do the same thing, they're going to pay $40,000 for a $10,000 policy when the burial will be $20,000. You tell me if that's right. And you tell me who's winning. They're going to pay $40,000 for a $10,000 policy on average, and the funeral won't be $20,000. And if you pay for the funeral in advance, it's 50% less. So if you're living right now and you can go out and just pay for everything right now, it's going to be 50% less than if you died and left everything for your family. So you can save money that way, but also you're killing it if you're doing the final expense. That is not the way to go unless you just don't have the health. That's the only reason why somebody would probably get the final expense because they just want to have something. But when it's all said and done, you can save $10,000, $15,000 and not pay 40. If you know what I mean, when it's all said and done, why would you give the insurance carrier all this money when you can invest that money, put that money aside, and not have to pay for a final expense for your funeral to be? Because that's the only reason why people get final expenses for funerals. It is not a good product, in my opinion. Tax-free retirement account. You can get with me. I'll help you open one up. Yeah, because you got to be with a licensed person to do that. That's not something that can be done by an individual by themselves. You're welcome, Adam. Thank you. All right. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can always invest in those things in the healthcare and the education. There's all types of stocks out there. Just need to look up, do your research. I was in a healthcare one before. Um, I'm going up on the comments. All right, maybe let me go up further. See if I see anything with no clauses. Oh, that's 95. Okay, good. You mean 95 years old? You don't mean 95 years. 95 years. So you're 95 years old. Can you get life insurance after you leave your job? Yeah, absolutely. You can get it on your own, and you don't have to because the one that's on your job is rented. It's not going to be with you when you leave there. Yeah, I actually sold a couple problem properties that I had because of how well the market is looking and just the opportunity to get rid of them. So yeah, because I know that it's going to crash and I didn't want to be on the opposite end of that. So it's a great time to sell. I agree, and that's why I did what I did because I want to reposition and get better assets when everything crashes and everything's like super cheap. I want to get back in and get some better properties. So that's why I reposition. All right. I'm caught up on the questions and the comments there. So,
All right. And like I told you, listen, folks, thank y'all for joining us on for Financial Friday, and I want everybody to have a fabulous Friday, sensational Saturday, super Sunday. And right now, what we plan on doing, we can do it again next Friday. So the difference is you can be prepared, have questions, or otherwise, like I say, you don't have to wait. You can go down there, www.shateka.com, 678-736-6496.
Yeah, I can help you with the whole tax-free retirement account. I can go through the numbers with you if you have a qualifying account and you just want to see like what's going on with your numbers. And those types of things, I can help you with that as well. But the goal is just to make sure that you're positioned with the education that you need, you're armed with the right education, so that you can make an informed decision. All right, so no pressure, just making sure that you have the right decision. You're making the right decisions when it comes to that. Um, there's so many people that they don't realize what a qualifying account does and what it's going to do for them long term. So I'm gonna just do a quick recap for anybody just tuning it in. Number one, a qualifying account is going to be any type of government regulated account. It's going to be a TSP, an IRA, Roth IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, anything that the government regulates in terms of how you can retire. That's a qualifying account. Then you have non-qualifying accounts. Some people, the wealthy, they do their own non-qualifying account, but what they do primarily in a non-qualifying account is a tax-free retirement account. This is what I'm talking about today. It is what I can help you with, okay? But there other people may do like savings or money market accounts. But I'm actually one thing about all those other types of accounts. And every account that I just told you, um, is there a risk with those accounts? Absolutely. You can lose money. Do you pay taxes with those accounts on the gains? Absolutely. And so that is a difference between those types of accounts, right? And then the fees, again, 30 to 50% less fees in a tax-free retirement account than it is in those qualifying accounts on average, okay? So with all that being said, if you have a lawsuit, again, you can be sued and all of your qualifying accounts be taken away, but you have protection if you have it in a tax-free retirement account. Your money is not going to be taken away. So it's important to understand the difference between a qualifying account versus a non-qualifying account for your retirement account. But the ideal account to have, the best of both worlds, and I can give you like the 9 benefits again, is the tax-free retirement account for all the reasons that I've stated before. But primarily, you don't want to become bankrupt in retirement because you have medical challenges. You want to make sure that's covered as well. So your qualifying account doesn't cover your medical challenges. It's not going to cover your lawsuits. It's going to be 30 to 50% higher in fees. It's going to be risks associated with it because when the market goes down, we've had clients losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, and sometimes they don't get the rebound, depending on where it's at, where their money was in. They don't get the rebound from that, for years. Who has that type of time, in their retirement account? And who has that type of risk tolerance? You know what I mean? So understanding that as well. But you have full control of your tax-free retirement account. That's the beautiful thing about it. If you need cash, emergency funds, you don't have to go to payday loans and pay 100 and something percent in interest. You can go to your tax-free retirement account, pull that money out, put that money back. So yeah, those are some of the things that you just want to be considerate of in terms of your qualifying versus your non-qualifying account. And so I am a financial planner, and this is what I do. I help people strategize so that they can retire before they expire. So if that's you, I'm the one you hire.
I got something I just seen. Glaze, can we extend this offer to your classmate from high school in New York City, David Levette's channel? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Because they must also be near retirement age. I mean, yeah. The difference is right now is if you got some of my classmate, hey, like I told you, dial them in right now, and I'll plug them right into the Queen.
All right.
Hey, everybody, once again, thank you. Thank you, Shateka. Hey, listen, tune in next Friday. Hey, and once again, we be doing it again. It's all about right now, help me to help you. And when you got people that's willing to help you, guess what? That's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing. And that's why I told you beforehand. You can always, once you get your goal, thank me later. What else you got, baby girl?
That's it. I've already summed it up. I dropped the mic already.
You drop, oh man, dude, drop the mic. Everybody have a good weekend. Thank you for joining me.
Yes.
All right.
Enjoy. Be safe out there. This corona.